Please make sure you...
Okay. Eureka! So, right. So, around 2,000 years ago in Greece, someone famously jumped stark naked out of the public bath and ran out into the marketplace, stark naked, screaming, Eureka! Eureka! So there's a few meanings you may know. Do you know who this person was? Does anyone know? No? Yes? No? No. It was the inventor, and I would say a philosopher of mathematics in the times when we didn't know much about mathematics, but you've all heard of Pythagoras, but this was Archimedes. If you look at Wikipedia, many consider him to be one of the greatest mathematician of antiquity. And Pythagoras was another one, if you've ever studied geometry and found that enjoyable.
Yeah, so, we'll have time. Yeah.
So Eureka, it's a Greek word, and I guess it means now sort of I have found it, and it probably did then still. So found what? Found a solution to a problem. So within the context of my theory about the processes of creativity, a person has conceptualized or created the seed of an idea for the solution to a problem. So not yet certain that it's a viable solution, but because you've been mulling over it, thinking about it for a long enough time, this is the realization is when you actually put that solution into effect. So why did Archimedes jump out of the bath naked? Now, he'd been contemplating a geometry-related question. If the king's crown, where the king was his cousin, this was in Sicily, which was now Greece. If the king's crown is made of 1 kilogram of pure gold, his new crown, how could Archimedes determine that it was without melting the crown down? You see, the king, he'd given his goldsmith 1 kilogram of pure gold to make a crown. So the crown weighed 1 kilogram, but the king suspected it had silver in it. So gold is, if you know specific gravity, but the same amount of gold weighs twice as much. The same volume of gold weighs twice as much so 1 kilogram. The specific gravity is twice as much. I'll explain it a little bit further. So what was the solution Archimedes conceived in his state of deep relaxation, contemplating this question in the public baths? So quite simple, really. He'd observed many times the natural event that when a person gets into a bathtub, as we all have, water is displaced from the tub. He likewise observed that larger people displaced a greater volume of water and so on. So he conceived there must be a relationship between the amount of water displaced and the volume of the human body. So quite straightforward. So what I was saying, the same amount of silver is only half as light as gold. So 1 cubic metre of silver weighs half the amount as 1 cubic metre of gold, which would certainly love to have that. If the crown did have silver in it, it would have a greater volume. So Archimedes conceived that if he placed the crown in a full container of water, it would displace more water than a 1 kilogram bar of pure gold. So when the experiment was, so this was he suddenly realised this, Eureka. But after all, it was a Greek word, so I'm sure people did it all the time. But it's in common usage now. And when the experiment was conducted to test this solution, it was found the crown did indeed displace more water, and so it wasn't pure gold. So in conclusion, Archimedes used observation of natural processes and what I've mentioned before, argument from analogy. So simply close observation, curiosity, close observation, frame that had a question, a problem, and he was, after all, interested in mathematics and geometry. That probably helped. so to conceive that solution to his problem. And so as this story goes, the conceptualization of this solution caused him to leap delighted in the air, oblivious to his nakedness, and call out, "Eureka!" Mind you, though, everyone in the public baths were also naked. But maybe the real trick is to take all your problems to the bathtub. Good excuse for having a bath. Thank you.
I like it, Richard. Last week we had Leonardo da Vinci. This week we've got Archimedes. We